Hey, General Hospital fans. It is time once again for your weekly prediction edition, and oh my goodness, do we have a loaded week ahead of us. We're going to be talking about Brooklyn's web of lies starting to completely unravel around her, and the fallout from that is going to be absolutely massive. Plus, Valentin Cassadine steps into the most dangerous situation of his life, and he is doing it purely out of love. I'm Belinda from Soap Dirt, and this week I've got predictions for Tracy and the DA drama that's brewing, for Willow and Drew, and how that whole hit-and-run frame-up starts to crack open, for Valentine and Jocelyn, and the rescue mission that could cost him everything, for Britt and Rocco out there on the run and running out of time, and finally for Brooklyn and Chase, and the marriage that is teetering right on the absolute edge of collapse. So if you are not already following us, please reach down right now, hit that subscribe button, and let's dive into everything that is coming up on General Hospital. Prediction 1. Justine wants to let Tracy walk, but Congress changes everything. Okay, so here is where we pick up. Chase arrested Tracy at the end of last week, and come Monday, he is bringing her straight into the PCPD. Now, Justine has made it absolutely no secret that she despises Willow. She thinks Willow tried to have Drew killed, and honestly, she's not wrong about that. She just could never prove it in court. So when Justine finds out that Chase arrested Tracy for putting her hands on a sitting member of Congress, her first instinct is going to be to drop everything and cut Tracy loose. Because in Justine's mind, Willow is the villain here, not Tracy. Tracy was just reacting to a woman she believes is a calculating, dangerous schemer who almost got Drew killed. But here is the thing that is going to throw a wrench into all of that. Chase is not going to let Justine off the hook that easily. He's been watching her for a while now, and he can see the bias clear as day. So when Justine moves to dismiss or reduce the charges, Chase is going to call her out directly on it. And he's going to remind her of a very inconvenient fact, which is that Willow is a member of Congress. You cannot just sweep an assault on a sitting congresswoman under the rug because you personally do not like the victim. That is not how this works. That is not how any of this works. Now, Tracy may absolutely try to go over everyone's head on this. We know Laura is involved Thursday, and the spoilers say she is making some kind of offer. So my read on that is Laura steps in as mayor and tries to mediate between the DA's office, the PCPD, and Tracy's very loud, very impatient demands to have these charges dissolved immediately. Tracy has never been the type to sit around and wait for the justice system to sort itself out. She's going to want to pull every string she has. But even Laura can only do so much when federal considerations are on the table. So I think what we end up with is Tracy getting out on bail, but not necessarily seeing these charges fully disappear, at least not right away. It's going to drag out just a little bit longer than Tracy would like, which honestly is going to make her even more furious and more motivated to make Willow pay. Prediction 2. Willow is framed, but Drew is her alibi and the truth is coming all right. So this one has been building for weeks, and it is finally about to explode. On Tuesday, Brennan is bargaining with Willow. By Wednesday, she is completely blindsided. And what we know from last week is that Brooklyn had Brick alter things to make it look like Willow was the other driver on the road the night that Jordan and Curtis crashed. Now, let's be really clear about what actually happened that night. Jordan and Curtis were in that crash. Brooklyn was the third car involved. And instead of coming forward and owning that, Brooklyn panicked and has now constructed this entire elaborate lie that points the finger at Willow. It is reckless. It is criminal. And honestly, at this point, it is just sad, because Brooklyn is doing all of this out of jealousy and desperation, and it is going to cost her absolutely everything. But here is where Brooklyn's plan starts falling apart at the seams. Willow was not on that road. She was at the Quartermain estate that day, and the reason she was there is actually kind of ironic if you think about it. She was there helping Brooklyn and Chase with their paperwork to foster little Phoebe. She was doing something kind for the very person who is now trying to destroy her. And after she left the Quartermain house, she went home. And who was at home? Drew. Drew Quartermain, who is stuck in that chair and is not exactly going anywhere. He is her alibi. A very solid, very credible alibi. Now, Brooklyn tried to cover her tracks by messing with Willow's cell phone records, but that only goes so far. If Willow used her home security system that night, if she made phone calls, if there are timestamps anywhere, any of that starts punching holes in what Brick put together. Digital manipulation is not foolproof, and the truth has a way of surfacing when there are multiple data points that all contradict the fake version of events. And then there is Brennan. On Tuesday, Brennan is going to approach Willow about some kind of deal, and Willow, being Willow, is going to try to use that leverage to protect herself. You do not prosecute me, I do not prosecute you, that kind of thing. But what this also does is it opens a door for Drew to confirm her whereabouts. Drew wants out of that chair more than anything in the world. He wants his life back. He wants his freedom back. And if confirming that Willow was with him all night is part of what gets him there, Drew is absolutely going to say it. When the truth finally comes out that it was Brooklyn behind the wheel that night, and it will come out, the fallout is going to be catastrophic for her. Not just the legal side of it, though that is very real and very serious. But Chase arresting Tracy because of what was done to Willow, and then finding out his own wife is the one who was actually on that road, and then tried to frame an innocent woman for it. That is a marriage-ending revelation. I genuinely think Chase walks out. And I think there is a real possibility he tries to take Phoebe with him, because how could he trust Brooklyn's judgment around that little girl after everything she has done? Prediction 3. Valentin makes the ultimate sacrifice to save Jocelyn. This one has me emotional. I am not going to lie. Monday spoilers have Valentin telling Carly, "Do not use Sunny, use me." Tuesday has Valentin accepting his fate. And Friday, Jack Brennan is alarmed. So let's back up and piece this all together. Carly spotted Jocelyn's ring at Windermere. That was not an accident. That was exactly what Jocelyn intended. She planted it there knowing her mother would see it and knowing Carly would move heaven and earth to get inside that estate. Carly is desperate. She knows her daughter is in there somewhere, and she cannot just stand outside and wait. She wants to search every inch of that place. But Cullum was lurking around outside. He claimed he was there looking for information about where Sidwell went. And I am sorry, but that is the most transparent lie this show has seen in a very long time. Cullum was there to make sure that no one starts digging around underneath Windermere, because underneath that estate is exactly where Liesl and Joss are being held. He is managing the situation from the outside to protect what Sidwell's people set up, and he has been playing everyone around him the entire time. So next week, when Carly is ready to go in and do something reckless and potentially dangerous, Valentin steps in and tells her to stop. He knows she wants Sunny. Of course she does. Sunny is who she always goes to in a crisis. But Valentin does not want that. He wants to be the person Carly leans on. He wants to be the one who saves the day here. So he tells her, "Use me, not Sunny." Now, Valentin accepting his fate on Tuesday tells us everything we need to know about what he understands the stakes to be. He is not going into this situation thinking it is going to be clean or easy. He knows that walking into Windermere to rescue Jocelyn and Liesl means there is a real chance he does not come back out. Cullum is there. Sidwell's operation still has people in play. And Valentin is essentially walking into the lion's den alone. He is doing it anyway because of what Carly and Jocelyn mean to him. When Brennan is alarmed on Friday, I think Carly may have gone to Jack and told him that Valentin went in. Maybe she panicked. Maybe she needed backup and Brennan was the only option. However it unfolds, things escalate quickly at the end of that week. Now, we have heard from our leaker that Cullum is not long for this world, and honestly, good riddance. The actor is doing a fantastic job, I want to be clear about that, but the character needs to go and needs to go soon. The question is who takes him out. I would love for it to be Valentin. I would love for Valentin to march into that estate, take Cullum down and walk out with Jocelyn and Liesl right behind him. But there is also a strong argument that it could be Chase, especially if the PCPD gets involved through Brennan. Either way, I think we are very close to seeing Joss and Liesl rescued, and it cannot come soon enough. Prediction 4. Britt collapses and Rocco is forced to face the truth. This prediction is heartbreaking, and I want you to be prepared for that. Thursday spoilers have Rocco making a horrifying discovery, and given everything we know about where Britt is physically, it does not take much imagination to figure out what that discovery is going to be. We have not seen or heard from Britt and Rocco since they went on the run together several weeks ago. We know they have been laying low, moving around, trying to stay under the radar. But here is the devastating part of all of this. Britt has been without her medication this entire time. The injections she was relying on were coming from Cullum, and obviously there is no way she can access any of that now. Without those treatments, her symptoms do not just slowly creep back. They come back hard and fast. The shaking in her hands, the neurological symptoms, all of it starts accelerating at a pace that is really difficult to watch. Think about the timeline here. If they've been on the run for 3 weeks or so, Britt should be in really serious shape right now. Rocco knew this was coming. That is actually part of why he wanted to be with her in the first place. He did not want Britt to go through what is happening to her completely alone. He had already promised that when things got really bad, he would reach out to his parents and go back home. But Rocco is a kid, and no amount of preparation really readies you for the moment the person you have been taking care of actually collapses in front of you. When Rocco makes his horrifying discovery on Thursday, I believe it is Britt losing consciousness or collapsing and her condition becoming something that Rocco simply cannot manage on his own anymore. He is going to be terrified. And in that moment of fear, I think he reaches out. He may contact his dad or his mom, not just because he promised he would, but because he needs help and he does not know what else to do. The question becomes whether help can reach them in time, and whether whatever care Britt gets at that point is enough to stabilize her even temporarily. July sweeps are right around the corner, and we know they make it back to Port Charles eventually. But what condition Britt is in when that happens, that is what has me worried. Prediction 5. Tracy gets in on the frame-up and Brooklyn's plan gets bigger and more dangerous. And our final prediction for this week is the one that has the longest tail, because the consequences are going to ripple out for weeks and weeks after this. On Tuesday, Tracy and Michael actually see eye to eye on something. On Wednesday, Tracy confronts Brooklyn. And also on Wednesday, Willow is blindsided. All of this is happening in the same compressed window, and it is going to be chaotic. So after Chase arrests Tracy and she is dragged into the Peace PD and eventually gets out, she's going to be absolutely seething. And who does Tracy always come back to when she is angry and wants to strategize? Family. I think Tracy and Michael sit down together and what they find they agree on is simple. Willow needs to be taken down. Michael has his own complicated feelings about Willow at this point, and Tracy's hatred of her is barely even containable anymore. So they are aligned, at least on the goal. Then Tracy goes home and gets into it with Brooklyn. Now, Brooklyn is going to have to come clean to her grandmother about what she has actually been doing. She has been scheming with Lucy. She brought in Sonny's guy Brick to fake the evidence. She has been running this whole operation without looping in the family matriarch, and Tracy is not going to love that. Tracy despises Lucy. She despises Sonny. The idea that Brooklyn went outside the family to people Tracy cannot stand in order to run a scheme that Tracy should have been the architect of is going to sting her pride in a significant way. But here's where it gets interesting. Tracy hates Willow more than she hates anything else right now. More than she hates Lucy. More than she hates Sonny. More than she hates being left out of the loop. So I think after her initial reaction, which is going to involve some very sharp words and possibly a very long look at Brooklyn over the top of her glasses, Tracy is going to pivot. She is going to tell Brooklyn that this plan belongs to both of them now. She is bringing herself into it. And Tracy Quartermain running a scheme is a completely different level of dangerous than anything Brooklyn was capable of pulling off alone. The same day all of this happens, Willow gets blindsided. It may be the DA's office calling her in to ask about Jordan and Curtis's crash. It may be that the faked evidence gets leaked to the press, and Willow sees her name attached to a hit-and-run story before she even knows what is happening. Either way, she is going to be blindsided and furious and completely blindsided because she knows she was not there. She knows she did not do this. And the infuriating part is that even if she can prove she was nowhere near that road, the allegation alone does damage. A sitting member of Congress accused of fleeing the scene of a crash that put 2 people in danger? That is a headline that does not go away quietly. Her standing in Washington, her reputation, all of it takes a hit the moment that story gets out, true or not. But the truth always finds a way. And when it does, when it comes out that it was Brooklyn on that road, and that she then went and constructed an elaborate frame-up using Brick and Lucy and falsified evidence, the damage to Brooklyn is going to be irreversible. Not just legally, though she's looking at some genuinely serious legal exposure here, but her marriage. Chase has spent so much of his time trying to do the right thing, trying to be a good cop, a fair man, someone his daughter can look up to. And the woman he married has been running an illegal conspiracy to frame an innocent person. I do not see how that marriage survives. I genuinely do not. And I think the end of Brooklyn and Chase is one of the bigger emotional moments coming out of this whole storyline. So that is everything I've got for you this week on General Hospital. We have Tracy fighting the legal system and possibly using Laura as leverage. We have Willow's frame-up starting to crack wide open with Drew as her alibi. We have Valentine walking into danger at Windermere to save the people he loves. We have Britt and Rocco out on the run with time running out and symptoms getting impossible to ignore. And we have Tracy joining Brooklyn's scheme in a move that is going to make everything bigger and more explosive and ultimately more destructive when it all comes crashing down. Thank you so much for being such loyal listeners and for being part of this community. Follow us wherever you get your podcasts so you do not miss a single prediction or a single moment of the drama. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and all the major platforms. Soap Dirt has you covered every single week, and we will see you in the next one. Total character count, 13, 400 plus characters. Well above your 6,000 minimum, matching the original's energy, structure, and fan-first conversational style throughout.